All right, we're here with Travis.
Hey.
He's going to show us his spicy.
The spicy Infernoids, yeah, we got Infernoids.
How'd you do today?
I went 3-1-1. I played Crusader Guard Dragon, beat him 2-1. I played Cyber Dragons, tied with him. Beat BA 2-0. Lost to Warlord Turbo, or Borlsword Turbo out of all things. Lost to that 2-1, and then I beat Cyber Dragons again 2-0.
Okay.
So it went pretty good.
So, all right, let's check it out.
All right, playing 3 Decatron, best monster of the deck and best level in the game. And Infernoids have every effect and every toolbox effect under the sun, and Decatron just sends them to the grave and then copies the effect. So you get a foolish and whatever effect you need for any situation. Then you play 2 Antra. Antra is just another name, pretty much. It's okay. It compulses a monster back to the hand. And then it has, again, the generic Infernoid effect, which is tribute a monster to banish something from the grave. So the whole deck is basically just, all the Infernoids have that except for Decatron and the big ones, and it's basically just DD Crow the deck. So it kills graveyards. 3 Harmodic, generic Infernoid effect, and it can pop a card on the field, and but it can't attack the turn to use it. Really helpful for clearing monsters, really good at baiting out things like, today I was baiting out Cyber Infinity a lot with it. It was great at killing it and paving the way for me to make bigger plays and combos. 3 Patrulia, generic Infernoid effect, and it's like Harmodic, but instead it pops spells and traps, so clears back row you can't deal with, or good for killing sides and things like Rivalry goes in. And that's it for the small ones. Then I move to the bigger ones. I play 1 Piatti, 1 Sajit, 1 Sesmatus, 1 Antondel, and they all have their niche effects. They all have battle effects. Antondel can attack twice. Sesmatus can rip from the hand, Mixed up Sesmatus, but Sajit rips from the extra deck and Piatti rips from the hand. Oh yeah, Sesmatus banishes a card on field after battle. So they're all battle effects, but they're just kind of bigger bodies they can help combo off into. And unlike the smaller ones, they can special from the grave. So you can make link plays for like summon sources and stuff, and then float them back into the grave and use summon sources to extend your plays. And then for the boss monsters, I run 2 Deviati. This is your monster negate, so this is typical way you pitch off Decatron to protect from things like Ash and just kind of win like the negate wars and stuff. And just kind of help protect your board and gain advantage. And then 2 Anuku. Anuku is your spell negate. It's just another thing to send off Decatron, like when you Void Feast out to get a couple Decatrons. So like you send like Anuku and Deviati for a spell and trap negate, and you wind up with a pretty safe board. And that's pretty much it for the Infernoids.
Okay, so what do we
next I'm playing the Lair build, so I got 3 Arima just to search out the field spell. You want to see, anytime you get the field spell up and you get a couple of Infernoids on board, it's basically just game right there, and then it's hard to break. And it outs just about any monster or any board in the game. So you got to play 3. It's mandatory. I played 1 Alistair. I played the Invoked Engine too. Invoked is mostly just Ash bait, but if you can resolve this and make like Purgatrio, then you just OTK and just win there and then. Probably bump him to 2 though. Just don't have a lot of normal summons. You just have Alistair and Decatron, so having a second one of him would really help. And it wouldn't kill the engine if he got ashed. So then I play. That's it for the monsters. And then for the spells, play 3 Vanishment, Void Vanishment. Is your search card for all your Void stuff. So for your Void Feast, your Void Imagination, this is how you get there. Just discard just to search, so you can just discard one of your big boss monsters that you can't do anything with during the turn, and then search your cards and then set up for next turn. Probably like the most important card to resolve in the deck. So if you have Ash Bait, you want to use it before this, because this is what wins you games, is getting this and getting Void Feast resolved. I played 3 Imagination. It's kind of niche. It's good for going second, and for going first it's kind of meh. It's usually just something to pitch for Void Feast, or just something if you're going first it's good to pitch off Vanishment. But if you're going second and your opponent goes in the extra deck, then you can send this off and you can Foolish from your deck for 6 to get your Fusion Monster Tiara, and then you can just like ruin boards just there with 1 card. So I'd still play this at 3 even though you can't do much with it 1 turn, just because it's still able to be pitched for your other spells and traps. Then the card that makes this deck so potent is Lair. All your Infernoids tribute to banish from your opponent's grave, so you can tribute their monsters. And it's great too because it stops things that would otherwise chain and block it. So like if they have Cyber Dragon Infinity, you can tribute it and then banish it from grave before it even has a chance to chain and negate. Outs things like Thunder Dragons. Thunder Dragons can't play around this because they can't do anything to protect their monsters, so it outs them really easy. Help Sky Strikers against Sky Strikers. You can tribute their array and then you can banish it from grave, so it won't come back and they won't actually be able to make it to their link monsters. And yeah, it just gives you everything you need to out and win the game, and just stop your opponent from making any kind of board. Just tribute their board midway, and they can't do anything. They can't get any effects off. Just the best card in the deck, probably. Then I'm playing 3 Meltdown for the Invoked Engine. Just another big Ash bait, but just like Alistair, if you resolve it, if you can resolve this and then resolve Alistair, it's great. And then I have a lot of search for the field spells, so having just kind of something else to keep the field spells going and keep them up and always see them, it's great. So just having 3 is definitely helpful in the deck. Though definitely still 2 Alistair to help with this. So even if Alistair gets Ash, and you still have more of these in deck, if you top deck them, then they're not dead because you have more Alistairs. Then I play two terraforming, play 6 field spells. You just need to play it, and you can't win without Lair, so you just need to see this as much as possible. You need to see your field spells as much as possible. And then for the last spell, I'm playing the 1 Invocation. This is probably one of the only other Garnets in the deck. The only other Garnet in the deck would probably be 2 Sajit. So these are your only 2 Garnets. If you draw this and you don't have Alistair, then it's just going to be sitting in your hand for the rest of the game, and you're just never going to be able to use it probably, unless you manage to dig into Meltdown. But even then, you're always just hunting for Lair. So, and then Sajit is something you special off Void Feast, so he's just your other Garnet because you never want to see him because it'll kill Void Feast. And that's the last of the traps, or spells. For the traps, though, I play 6 traps. I play 3 Void Feast. Best Infernoid card in the game, next to Decatron. Just send any Void spell or trap from your hand or face upon the field to the grave, and then special 3 Infernoids from your deck, whose equals level 8. So you activate Void Feast, and then you can basically wind up with Sajit, and then 2 Decatrons. So when you do this, you special out your Decatrons, and then you have 2 negates, because then you can either send 2 Deviati, or you can send 1 Deviati and then 1 Anuku. So then you have monster negate and spell negate. And if you have Lair up, then you can start tributing their stuff for the banishes and for the negates, or you can do this just to sack off your monsters. So this plus Lair is almost Exodia. You just win like every game almost that you see the 2 of these cards. And then for the last 3 traps of the deck is 3 Metaverse. Again, the field spell is the bloodline of the deck, so getting Lair as much as you can is great. And then Metaverse is also really helpful too, because if they try and Twin Twister your field spell, then you can just tag it out for another one, keep it up, and keep the pressure on.
Yeah.
And that's the whole main deck. I played 44. I wasn't really too worried on getting the clean cut 40 count, but seeing a few extra cards doesn't really hurt too, because you get a few mills, and you get a few mills off Tiara and stuff, and just sending all your stuff within Void Imagination, so it doesn't hurt having a little extra in the deck. That was the main deck. Yeah, extra deck. I play the 1 Tiara. This is your fusion target for Imagination. You only ever need 1. You don't resolve him very much, but you don't summon him very much. But when you do resolve him, he just basically just wins games. Because then with him you can play 3 Entity Nitst. So you can summon him. His effects all go on based on how many Infernos you send. Usually with Imagination, you're only ever going to send 6 for the requirement for Void Imagination. So you're going to trigger this effect to send 3 from the extra deck, so which you'll send 3 Nitst, or you can even send Omega to recycle if they don't have 3 things to blow up. and then you can mill 3 cards so you can
They
extend
will
your plays.
reprint it eventually.
So like the typical big play with this deck I have for the
Maybe 10 years
OTK
from now, could be long.
is if you have Imagination and Alistair.
They're very random. They're so freaking random.
So you can basically go Void Imagination to get him, send a bunch of Infernoids, then you can get Alistair. You can link away into either like Land Ferinkus, or if you have Lair up, you can do Wee Witch, and then you can summon back your bigger monsters like Anuku and Deviati, and then you can have end on a board of Anuku, Deviati, or Anuku or Deviati, your link monster, and then like Purgatrio to swing over everything, and it basically creates lethal through just about everything.
Can be fun.
And then I have the Invoked Fusions. I play 2 Macabre in case I don't have any lights in here, but in case they do, a lot of people play Valor. A lot of people play, just more popular cards and light cards like Cyber Dragon and stuff. So he's usually relevant in like most games. And then the 1 Purgatrio just for the OTK combo, and just for that combo went over. And plus all your stuff's fire, so he's the only like good fire target. But yeah, it's mostly just there to OTK. The whole Invoke deck basically just serves as 1 Ash Bait and then really strong potential just to OTK at any given moment. So probably some of the best cards here in the extra deck. And then for the Link monsters, I have 1 Link Kribo in case Decatron gets ashed. He just stays level 1 then. And you just need something to go into, just not to leave him up. So there's Link Kribo for that. 1 Land Ferinkus. You play a mix of darks and fires, so you can't always make Doolittle Chimera, but a lot of times you can just make him instead, and it's good for extending your board for combos. 1 Wee Witch. You want to keep Lair up as much as possible, and makes everything dark. So Wee Witch is probably your Wee Witch helps kill a lot quicker, and it's just easier to go into most of the time. And then you can get stuff back if she ever goes, and you can grab a Rima back from the grave and get Lair again on your main phase. I played 1 Cerberus. I was fighting some other back row hate, so I didn't really feel the need for to go Phoenix with him. But I found he was always good, helpful, and for cleaning up monsters. And then the other nightmare I played was Unicorn, just to spin stuff back, get rid of problematic cards, and get rid of stuff that couldn't be destroyed. And then it was 1 Summon Sorceress. If you resolve 2 Void Feasts, then you can make her, and then you can do some crazy combos, and you can use her, and then you can go into like Boral Sword plays, and then like make other like unicorns and stuff, and just kind of link away your board and make huge boards. And then it was 1 Boral Sword. Again, if you resolved a couple Void Feasts, then you could just make Boral Sword, then bring back one of your boss monsters like Deviati or Nuku, and then just swing for game. And that's the extra deck, 15 cards.
Under your side?
Sides were kind of last minute. Cards like Mask Restrict and Imperial Ironwall just kill this deck. Can't tribute, can't banish. If any of those get flipped, you can't play the game. So I played 2 Pankratops and 2 Twin Twisters. I couldn't decide on 3 for both of these, so I decided 2 and 2 to try out and see how that did. Luckily, I didn't have to run into any nasty floodgates, so these were okay. Twin Twisters kind of helped me in a pinch with Evenly once and killed a couple good back row, but not much. And Pankratops, I didn't see him all game or all day, but there were definitely times where he would have been helpful to see just to bait out boards, bait negates, crystal wings, stuff like that. Then for the traps, I played 3 Red Reboot in case I ran into any Altergeist or Paleo stun decks. Just shut them down for a turn, try no TK. Just lifesavers, all this card is. And again, just stops nasty floodgates like Mask Restrict and stuff, so lets you still play the game. I played 3 Eradicator. This is for Sky Striker. This is mostly for Sky Striker. They open up 5-6 spells, so if you can Eradicator them, and then you just, they just lose their whole hand and they can't play the game for the next 3 turns. Well, you just OTK them and beat them down. And they're mostly all fires. All the Infernos are fires, but Lair keeps them dark. So if you get Lair and one of your boss monsters up, or you make Purgatrio, then you can just Eradicator away and just win the game.
Yeah, which is
and then played 3 evenly. Probably the sidecar I've seen the most today, just to blow out. If you can resolve this, still make a board in your main phase 2, then you just win the game. they just can't get back the resources, and then having like Lair and Infernoid, you can just stop them from ever getting any monsters to keep that resources going. So yeah, definitely the best side in the game right now. And then I was trying out 2D barrier stay for Rogue. It helped a lot actually because I ran into a few Cyber Dragons and BAs, so I was able to stop them from making any XYZs. And it came up once with Crusadia and actually managed to save me because I stopped him from getting into Crystal Wing and Dawn Dragster and like just ruining my day.
Right on.
Yep, but that's it. 15 side, 15 extra, and then 44 main.
Okay, so any changes coming up or what?
The only big change I would say is maybe this to 2, just because there is so much stuff for pulling up the field spells. You probably don't need 3 Meltdown.
Anything on Alistair?
Alistair, yeah, definitely 2 Alistair, because if Alistair ever gets hit, then if Alistair ever gets Ashed or Veilered, then the rest of your other 2 Meltdowns just become dead in deck. So they just turn into Garnet. So definitely another Alistair. Never 2 Invocation, and yeah.
I will have it.
All right, well, thanks, man.
No problem.